Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is backup history and header information in SQL Server. Basically, we will talk about how you can check the backup history and look out for the header information inside SQL Server for the backups. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. There is a subscribe button coming below this video. Click on that subscribe button and it will give you a bell icon. After that, click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future and upcoming videos. So guys, I'm waiting for 5 minutes. I'm not 5 minutes, but 5 seconds. So you can go ahead and subscribe right away. And I'm waiting for this. Please go ahead. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now. If yes, let's proceed ahead. So let me quickly take you to notes. So today's video topic is backup history and header information. So this will be a theoretical discussion. There will be little to no practicals under this video. A complete history of all SQL Server backups and restore operations on a server instance is stored inside the MSDB database. So this database is very useful, the MSDB database inside your SQL Server. And this MSDB database is a system database. And all of the history for all the SQL Server backups and restore operations of the SQL Server instance are stored under this database. So this is very useful. And in this video, we will discuss upon backup and restore history tables. We will talk about them, what are those tables. And we will also talk about the T-SQL statements that are used to access the backup history. Let's continue on this. So we will also discuss upon when the listing database and transaction log files is useful. While performing any restore, we basically list out what all files, including the transaction log files, are available under the backup. And we will talk about the situations under which this information is useful. And we will also talk about the situation where it is beneficial to use the media header information compared to when to use the backup header information. We will talk about those scenarios as well. And to basically manage the risk of losing the recent changes to your backup and restore strategy, we would suggest you to back up the MSDB database frequently. So if you want to keep track of the history changes in your backup and restore strategy, as all this information is stored in the MSDB database, we would recommend you to take the backup of this system database frequently. Now let's talk about the agenda of this video quickly. So if we talk about agenda, we will cover the backup and restore history tables. We'll talk about what these tables are. We'll talk about Transact-SQL statements for accessing the backup history. What all Transact-SQL statement we can issue to check the backup history. And we will talk about the database and transaction log files. We'll talk on media header information. We'll talk about backup header information. And we will make a comparison between the media header information and the backup header information. Finally, we will talk about the backup verification. So let's start with the first topic, which is backup and restore history tables. So below is the table which shows you what all tables are available for that stores the backup and restore history information. So these are around 7 or 8 tables. So first table is the backup file table, and it contains one row for each data or log file that is backed up. We can check these tables inside SQL Server. So let me quickly take you to SQL Server. We'll check on these. So I've triggered SQL Server, waiting for it to open. Once it opens, I will show you info out of these tables. So first table is the backup file table, which contains the row, each row for the data or log file that is backed up. All right, finally it's open. So let's log into a default instance of SQL Server. So once it connects to the database, I will expand upon the system databases. So expand on databases. Under that, you will find the system databases section. Expand on that. And here you will find the MSDB database, which keeps track of all the backup history and restore information. Right click on this database to get a new query against it. So first table we were talking about was the backup file table. Let's check what we have inside this table. As per the documentation, it should contain one row for each data or log file that is backed up earlier. So let's do a select star from. The name of the table is backup file. So this is the table. Let's see what information do we have here. All right. So we see we have a set of two rows here, which has a backup set ID of one. Backup family number is also one. Media number is also one. As the backup was taken on the disk media instead of tape. And file group name is showing for file group name that is showing is primary. And there are two files, file number one, file number two, and the page size of the backup it is showing up. So page count is also showing up, 16 pages of backup. And the next column lists out whether it's a data file or a log file. So first one is the data file, second one is the transaction log file. Here it also indicates whether it's a transaction log file or a data file. And then it shows us the location where the backup was taken. So this backup was taken for the SSIS-DB, which is this database inside SQL Server. We had taken a backup of that, and it basically also shows you the date and time of the backup. No, it is not showing that, but it just shows the historical information on the files that were being backed up. Shows each row for each data or log file that is backed up. So far we see we have only taken the backup of the SSIS-DB. Let's see if it has a column for database as well. No. You need to figure out by looking at the file name for which database the backup was taken. So yeah, the name here is indicating that this is the backup of SSIS-DB, which is this database over here. All right, let's move on to next table, which is backup file group. And this table basically contains the row for each file group in a backup set. Earlier we take a look at this table. We have a primary file group under which this data file is stored. Now let's take a look at that particular table, which is backup file group. So let's see whether this table contains any info yet. So yeah, it is showing us what all file groups were backed up. So it is showing us the one of the entries for the primary file group. So it indicates here it's a file group and rows file group, and GUID ID it also shows up and shows up what was the backup set ID and the file group ID. So it has taken only one backup for a file group for the SSIS-DB so far. Let me quickly take right, so far I think we are good, but yeah, in order to show you additionally, we can take database backup of AdventureWorks 2022. So let's quickly take a backup. So let's right click on the AdventureWorks 2022 database, go to task, and there's a backup option over here. So you need to take a full backup over here, and it will show you the location where the backups will be kept. So I'm leaving it to default location and just doing the backup. Let's click on OK. Basically, it's showing that your our device has a sector size of 512, and the backup was taken on a device with sector size of 4096 bytes. So that's why it is not allowing us to take a backup here. I don't know. Let's take a backup of MSDB database quickly. So go to task. This is a system database. Let's try to take its backup. We are taking a full backup for this database. Let's click on OK. So backup is taken successfully for MSDB database, and we can again check the table. So first table was the backup file. Now it will show us some additional rows. So backup file is the first table. Now it will show us 4 rows, right? So this is a backup set ID 2, first family number, media number, and it is again showing that it's a backup of primary data file and log file, and these are the file names, the logical file names, and this is the physical file names. We have just taken the backup of this MSDB data and log files. So this table shows us the file information. So let's take a look at another table, which is backup file group. Now it will show us 2 entries, right? So one was for the primary file group for database SSISDB, and another one is for the primary file group for the database MSDB, right? Under each category, it is showing us the file group grid 00, and it is basically giving the description that this file group contains the raw data. So it's a rows file group, and it's the default file group. So whatever file group backups we take, it makes an entry over here. Now let's go to the third table, which basically shows information about the backup media family, and it contains one row for each media family. If a media family resides in mirrored media sets, so here we have not used the mirrored media sets. We have not taken backup on multiple devices simultaneously to create mirrored media sets. So here our media family is showing as, if you take a look at the backup file table earlier, which we were taking a look at. So if we take a look, it is showing the media family number as 1111, because we only have a single media. We do not have any additional hard disk where we are taking the mirrored backups so far. So let's go back to Node. So the third table is the backup media family. It contains one row for each media family. And if a media family resides in a mirrored media set, which is not a case here, the family has a separate row for each mirror in the media set. So let's quickly check the table. We are not using any mirrored media set. So let's see what do we have here. So we can check the table backup media family. So this is the table. Let's quickly check it. So I think we only have family 1 over here. Media set IDs are 2 because we have taken 2 backups on different places, but the family sequence number is 1. We don't have multiple families because we are using the same device. And it also gives us the media count, how many media counts are used, how many tapes or disks you have used. So far for each backup we have used 1. So it is showing us that information. And it is showing us the media family ID for each of the database backups that we have taken. So we are good here. So backup media family contains one row for each media family. If a media family resides in a mirrored media set, the family has a separate row for each mirror in a media set. Now next table is backup media set, which basically contains each row for each backup media set. I think we don't need to show you here each and every table, but you got the idea. Like the backup media set contains one row for each backup media set. The next is the backup set table, which contains the row for each backup set. Next is the restore file table, which contains one row for each restored file. This includes file restored indirectly by the file group name. And restore file group table is also there, which contains one row for each restored file group. And restore history table is also there, which contain one row for each restore operation. Let's take a look at a restore history table to see if we had performed any restores here. So we take a look at the restore history table. I don't think so I have performed. So one restore was performed, that was for the SSISDB database. And the username who performed the restore is this. So which backup set ID was used to perform the restore? And what are the replace recovery options we have chosen, and how many devices were there through which the database backup was restored. This is contained in this particular table. This information is contained here. Now let's go ahead. Now let's come back to the next topic, which is no, before we come to next topic, there's one line of textual information. So when a restore is performed, backup history tables and restore history tables are modified. So whenever we perform the backup and restore operations, the history tables are always modified. Now our next topic is what are the Transact-SQL statements we can use for accessing the backup history. So the restore information statements corresponds with the information stored in certain backup history tables. So far we have shown you the restore history table, and there's no history table for backup explicitly name and history, but you can take a look at backup file group, etc. So for restore, we do have a history table explicitly mentioned as history. Now there are certain commands like restore file list only, which basically shows you the file list on a particular database backup. If you just want to check what all files are there in that particular backup, you can use the restore file list only option, and you can choose the other Transact-SQL statements like restore header only or restore label only. These are some of the commands that you can use to check some information on the database backup. Another thing is restore verify only. These four are some of the T-SQL statements that require the create database permission. So if you want to run these statements, you need the create database permissions. And basically the necessity for this requirement is that this secures your backup files and protects your backup information. Let's discuss about these options, although we will not show you here practically. In my earlier videos or in my earlier backup and restore videos, if you check them all out under the business continuity playlist, you will see we have used some of these commands in many of the instances. So you can check out those videos. Here we are not showing it practically, but yeah, we are discussing it theoretically. So first statement is restore file list only. And the backup history table for this restore file list only is backup file. So this table is used for restore header only, the backup set is used. For restore label only, backup media set is used. So these are some of the tables that are used to provide information to these commands, these T-SQL commands, backup file, backup set, and backup media sets. So for restoring the file list only, we use the backup file table, and which basically returns a result set that has a list of database and log files that are contained in a specific backup set. And for restore header only, the information comes out of the backup set table, and basically it retrieves all the backup header information for all the backup sets on a particular backup device. And the result from executing the restore header only is a result set. Now, third one is restore label only, which uses the backup media set table. And basically it returns the result set that contains information about the backup media on a specific backup device. So all in all, the information comes out of these tables. We can query these tables directly as well, or we can use these T-SQL statements to fetch that information in the background out of these tables. Now let's come back to next topic, which is here we are talking about the database and transaction log file. All right, and the information that is displayed when the database and transaction log files are listed in the backup include the logical name and the physical name. So earlier I was showing you the backup file table. So if we take a look at this table, this contains information about the logical name and the physical name of the file. So logical names are coming under this column, and the physical file names are coming under this column. So that is what we are discussing in the theory. So both the logical and physical file names are there. So whenever information is displayed when a database and a transaction file, log files are listed in a backup, it includes the logical name and the physical name of the files, and it also indicates the file type, whether it's a database or log file. So we have a column for this, whether it's a database or a log file. So this is the file type showing whether it's a database or log file. Yeah, that is the column that indicates whether it's a database file or log file, indicated by DL and D and L respectively. So it provides the physical name, file type, whether it's a database or log. It provides the file group membership information. Let's see if it has the file group membership information. Here the file group GUID is given over here, and file group information is also given over here. File group names are given over here. Alright, so it provides the file group membership information. It provides the file size in bytes. We can check it here. So here it is showing us the page size. Let's see if it also shows the file size. So it shows the backup size. I think these are in bytes. This is the backup size on the disk. I think in bytes. And let's come back to notes. So it displays the information on the file size, and the maximum allowed file size, and the predefined file growth size in bytes. So all those information is displayed whenever we list out the database and transaction log files using the restore file list statement of T-SQL command. And this information is basically useful in the following situations. Basically, if we want to determine the name of the files in the database backup before we want to restore our backup, so this information or this command is very useful. Restore file list only to basically check to if we want to determine the name of the files and in a particular database backup, then this information is useful before we can restore the backup. And let's talk about some of the situation where we can find this all this information useful. So I've listed out some scenarios where we have this information and this information is very useful. So one of the scenarios is in case you have lost the disk drive that contains one or more of the files for a database. So we have lost the disk where the actual data physical files were there. For the database, we lost that disk drive. Now, but we have a backup on a separate drive. But the original database and the log files, the disk where they are residing, we have lost that disk. And we want to restore the files from the backup. So in that case, if we list out the file information, that will be useful in that particular scenario. We can list the files in the database backup to basically determine which files are affected and then restore these files onto a different drive instead of the same drive when we restore the whole database, or if we are restoring just those files, and apply any transaction log backups created since the database was backed up. So this is one of the scenarios. Another scenario is that if we are restoring a database from one server to another server, all right. In those situations, also if you have a track of file information, that would be useful. So this is one of the scenarios where we are restoring a database. Backup is taken from one server, and we are restoring the database onto another server. But the directory structure and drive mapping does not exist on the server. So we do not have one-to-one mapping. Maybe we have taken backup from the C drive on a source server, but we want to restore the backup on the E drive on the destination server. In those situations, it's better to have the file information handy, which can be obtained through the restore file list only T-SQL command. So let's talk about this scenario where we are restoring a database from one server to another server. Listing the files in the backup let you determine which files are affected. For example, the backup contains the file that has to be restored to drive E, but the destination server does not have drive E. In this scenario, the file must be relocated to another location such as drive C when the file is restored. So in those situations, looking at the file information is useful. Now, let's talk about some other topics. Let's talk about the media header information. Basically, viewing the media header displays information about the media itself instead of about the backups on the media. We can view the media header information and backup header information. So we were showing you two commands. Restore header only basically restores the backup header, not the media header. And I think restore label only provides us the media header information. So this command can be used, restore label only, to fetch the media header information. And basically viewing the media header information displays the information about the media itself instead of about the backups on the media. Media header information is displayed includes the media name, description, name of the software that created the media header. So we're talking about some of the tables. So backup media set, let's take a look at that. Backup media set is the table, and this table contains information about the media set instead of containing information about the backups. It contains information about the media itself. So it provides the information like what is the media set ID, or what is the family of that media set, and which software was used to take the backup. In our case, we have used Microsoft SQL Server to take the backup, right? So let's come back to the topic, which is media header information. So media header information that is displayed includes the media name, description. We have just shown you the name of the software that created the media header and the date of and the date the media header was written. So let's see if we have a date when the media header was written. So here we don't have a date when the media header was written. So let's go back, and viewing the media header is basically quick as we don't have to scan the complete disk or scan the complete tape drive to get the information. So viewing the media header information is quick as compared to viewing the backup header information, in which all the scanning is required for a particular disk or a tape. Now let's talk about the backup header information, which can be obtained from the backup set table, where we have listed the command restore header only to get that information. And the information comes out of the backup set table. The information that comes out is the backup header information. And if we talk about backup header information, viewing the backup header information displays the information about all the SQL Server and non-SQL Server backup sets on the media. So it provides all the information. What backups are taken through SQL Server, what all backups are taken through the external backup applications on the media. And the information that gets displayed include the type of backup devices that are used and the type of backups. For example, database transaction file or differential database backup, and backup start, stop, date, time information as well. And if we talk about this information, the backup header information, this information is useful when you have to determine which backup set on the tape to restore, all the backups that are contained on the media. So basically, backup header information provides which particular backup set you want to restore from the tape or the disk image, all the backups that contained on the media or disk. Viewing backup header information can take a long time for a high capacity tapes. So if we have a high capacity tapes, viewing the backup header information takes time because the complete scanning of the whole media is required to display the information about each backup on the media. Now, which backup set to restore? How we will determine that? So you can use the information in the backup header to identify which backups you want to restore. So whatever information this backup header provides, you can use that information in that backup header to identify which backups you want to restore. The database, if we talk about the database engine, it numbers each backup set on a backup media. So it numbers out each backup set. Whenever we take backups, it increments the backup set number by 1. And this lets you basically identify the backup set you want to restore by using its position on the media. For example, the following media contains 3 backup sets. So we have backup set 1, 2, and 3. And each one is taken using the SQL Server application in this scenario. And we have a media header information here. So we have taken a backup on a media, maybe tape, drive, or disk file basically. And we have 3 backup sets showing up in this particular image, right? And basically to restore a specific backup set, we can specify the position number. So each of the backup set has its position 1, 2, and 3 in this image. So for restoration, we specify the position number of the backup set that we want to restore. For example, to restore the second backup set, specify 2 as the backup set to restore. Now let's do some comparison on the media header and backup header information. And below is an example of the differences between viewing the backup header and media header information. Obtaining the media header information requires retrieving information only from the start of the tape, in case we are using a tape drive. So if we want to fetch the media header information, it is stored in the initial part of the tape. So it requires retrieving the information only from the start of the tape. Whereas if we want to obtain the backup header information, it requires scanning the whole tape to look at the header of every backup set. So this image is showing you the difference. So restore label only is the command which is used to provide the media header information. So scanning is done only in the initial part of the tape where the media header information is stored, whereas complete scanning is required to get the backup set information, which can be obtained through restore header only command. Now, when you use media sets that have multiple media families, The media header and backup set are written to all media families. So in case we are doing a mirrored backup set on the multiple media families, all this media header and backup set information is written on all the media for all the families. Therefore, you only have to provide a single media family for this reporting operations. Not reporting operations, so restoring operations should be there. Restoring operations. All right. Now let's talk about the topic backup verification, and which is the last topic of this video. So let's go through this topic, backup verification. Although this backup verification is not required, but verifying a backup is a useful practice. So whenever we can take backup, we can verify that backup as well. Basically, verifying a backup checks that the backup is intact physically to ensure that all the files in the backup are readable and can be restored. All right. So we can verify the backup for that purpose. And we can restore that backup in the event we need to use it. So basically, by verification of backup, it basically checks that the backup is intact and intact physically, and basically it ensures that all files within the backup are readable and can be restored. And it is important to understand that verifying a backup does not verify the structure of the data on the backup. So it does not verify the structure, but it just ensures that your physical files are intact and are readable so that restoration can be done. However, if the backup was created using the with checksums, verifying the backup using the with checksums can provide a good indication of the reliability of the data as well on the backup. So we can take backup with checksums. So while taking the backup, it shows you certain set of options. You can explore those options. You can watch out my earlier videos. So while taking the backup, you have the media options. There's a section for reliability. So you can do verification of the backup when it is finished using this option. And we were talking about the checksums. You can perform the checksum before writing to the media. So you can verify the checksum of the data to basically ensure data integrity before you can write the backup to the media. So these two are the options under the reliability sections which you can choose, and which covers this particular part, backup verification. We have also covered the with checksums option, which basically also gives the good indication of the reliability of the data. So guys, we are done here. In our next video, we'll talk about the possible media errors during backup and restore and what to do in those circumstances. Right now, notes are not ready for this topic, so I'm writing out the notes under this topic. So stay tuned, and there are around like 20 to 25 videos, maybe less than that, are remaining under the backup and restore category. After the backup and restore category is done, I will soon start on the always on availability groups, which is the HADR technology under SQL Server for disaster recovery. So we will talk about that. So stay tuned. Keep subscribed to my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. There's a subscribe button coming below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon. Select all notifications regarding all my future and upcoming videos, including the videos on backup and restores I'm creating these days. We already have lots of videos covering the backup and restore. If you haven't watched them, please go ahead and do so. There's a business continuity playlist which you can find out on my channel page. Go to that playlist, watch out all the videos to get better clarity on the backups and restore area. We have extensive videos on this area. I think more than 40 to 50 videos covering the backup and restore strategies. So I hope you have subscribed by now. Let me give you 5 seconds to subscribe. Please go ahead and do so right away. Please subscribe right away to my channel. So guys, I hope you have subscribed to my channel. I thank you so much for your time on this video today. Please share this video with your friends. In case you have a good network of friends, please share this video with them. And if they are working in the same domain, the SQL Server domain, Yes, you can share my videos with them via the share button that is coming below this video, or to share my videos with them over any of the social media platforms. I thank you so much for your time on this video today. You have a wonderful day ahead, guys. Guys, we have started T-SQL Bootcamp for you, which is basically 200 days of group coaching on SQL Server. And basically, we are inviting applications to enroll you into our Bootcamp series. And it's 200 days of group coaching. So any of the interested people can send in their applications via the below Google Forms link, which is given below. This is the link. And I'm also including this link in the video description area of this video. Once you fill out this form, we will send you the link to pay the coaching amount, which is the course fee for this course is 40,000 INR. And the period is 200 days for this course, which will approximately take like 10 months to cover up. So exactly it will be 200 days in which I will cover this material. Once I receive your application, if you are interested, I will send you the link to pay the course fee. So upon once you pay the course fee, we will send you the Google Meet link for whatever batch we are starting soon. So once you receive that link, you can start the batch at specific time. So let me show you the form, how you need to send the form. Let me open it for you. So this is the form, guys. Once you open that link, you will get this form. So it will be 200 classes or 200 days of group coaching, and we will cover 90 minutes each day. And following topics, we will start with getting started with select statements, and we will end up in the object and dependencies. And this course material will be covered during the span of 200 days. So we would like you to fill in this application form in case you are interested in joining this T-SQL Bootcamp for 200 days. Please fill in the required information, your name, email address, mobile number, occupation, and we have the following training slot preferences. Let me refresh this form and I will show you the time slots. So we have 3 time slots. First one is from 9:30 a.m. till 11 a.m. IST time. Second time slot is from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. IST time. And third time slot will be a late time slot, which will cover 12 a.m. early morning till 1:30 a.m. in the night. So you may select your batch preference, like what time would you prefer for the batch? Do you want to join in 9:30 to 11 a.m. batch, or if you want to join 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. batch? You can select your batch accordingly, and you need to submit in the form. So once I receive your form, I will send you the payment link to make the payment for this course, and the payment for this course is 40,000 INR. So once you make that payment, I will send you the Google Meet link for the next batch we are starting. So we will take you into that batch, and you will receive a series of invites. All right, so yeah, that's it regarding this course. Let me know if you have any questions regarding this course. You can send me an email on my email address, which is vrmavnh@gmail.com. This is my address. You may note it down. If you have any queries related to this course, do send me your emails. I will try to answer your questions. Guys, in case you want to make any donations or offerings to us via UPI, then you may scan the code on the right hand side to make the payment. You can use any of the UPI based apps like Google Pay or PhonePe. So there's a code given on the right hand side, which is my GPay code. You can scan that code using any of your UPI apps and make payments to us, basically to support our channel. Else the other way, if you want to make donations, is to go to the following link, which is a topmate.io link. You can type this link as is in your browser like Google Chrome or Edge and press enter. After that, it will take you to my topmate.io page. Through that page you can make donations to us as well. And also guys, in case you want to contact us, you can contact us on my email address, which is vrmavnh@gmail.com. You can contact us for the below requirements, which are given here on the right hand side. In case you need a copy of notes for any of the topics discussed during the video, you can send me an email on my email address. A nominal fee has to be paid if you want to obtain notes for any particular topic. It depends upon how lengthy the notes are. The fee will be decided according to that. So in case you need the copy of the notes, do send me an email on my email address. The other requirement for which you can contact me is to schedule one calls with me, which will be paid calls. So in case you want to schedule one-on-one calls with me, you can send an email to me so that I will help you in scheduling one of the calls. And in case you want to get SQL Server coaching, you can also contact me on my email address. Some of the other requirements are if you need coaching on any particular SQL topic, or if you need some analysis of Transact-SQL code, or if you want to collaborate for any content creation or brand promotion, you can definitely send us an email on my email address, and I will respond back to you.